Hi, I'm Barbara. I'm a blank builder and a blogger, and I'm on a mission to rebuild and repurpose the 71-year-old aircraft construction aluminum trailer home, Alley Mo.
I'm Brenna. I'm a student and a volunteer, and today we're going to build a polyethylene-to.
Brenna and I ran power to the shed in June, and I put Alley Mo back in the good parking spot. Since then, I've been thinking about how to build a shelter over my project. I want it to look nice, but it can't be expensive. I learned that there's special visqueen for greenhouses. It's rated for 4 years of UV exposure. So I started researching hoop houses. What if I just lift that up in the air? I made a drawing to hash out some of the details. Then I went to Home Depot and bought myself 2 10-foot lengths of 1-inch conduit because it fits in my car. I had to get a feel for how much it wants to bend. I got a couple of ladders and did some in-situ tests of a 20-foot PVC hoop. Okay, so here it is with a stronger angle on this side, more vertical. And that's kind of what I was picturing. So more of an airframe shape than just a hoop. I like it. So I want to leave this section open so the pine straw and the pine cones can fall out and the water can fall out. We'll keep the grass watered because I think I'm going to just keep grass here. I'm really surprised how stable that is. It's going to be not a big deal to build this. I have some packages. And a roll of rope. Nice line. I like it. And that will attach to these. So the cord will go through here, and then this clips into the part that's in the big box. And I got 1 bag of these. I hope it's the right number. I didn't really overthink it because you can get 25 or you can get 50, so I got 25. And these are, these are a lot thicker than I thought they were going to be. Nice. These are very thick plates of aluminum. The ones on the other sites that I looked at were much thinner gauge. They were like flashing. Nice. This big box is the interesting part. Alright, so I have 20 pieces of this wire that's stainless steel, supposed to be stainless steel. This is the aluminum channel for the east side of the cover. Right, so this is the double channel that I want to use as purlins. I wanted to get it in my hands to see how stiff it was so I could see what sort of fasteners I need to go in this channel and generally what the performance of it's going to be. It twists a little bit, but pretty stiff. Cool. For my first post, I measured 16 feet from the corner of the shed and dug a hole. Does it make a straight line? Nobody knows. For the next post, I measured 36 feet from the first post and 16 feet from the shed and dug another hole. I ran a string from the first post to a stepladder to get the height. I'm going to call that level. I got my hole the right depth and set the post. Okay, so that's with the string tied very tightly to the top of that post. And that post. Awesome. On Halloween, I found these ghost pipes in my yard. They're the flowers of a plant with no chlorophyll. They get their nutrients from tree roots by way of a fungus. I needed to fix the corner of my shed before attaching a lean-to. I finally got the trim flashing for the corner and the door. Got it all painted. Nice. Okay, so it's 36 feet, 1.5 inches to the outside of the post from the outside of the other post. So if I want to divide the distance between the insides of the post evenly, then I need to subtract the width of a post, which is 3.5 inches. So 1, 2, 3.5 inches. Editing Barbara here. I erroneously converted 1/2 inch into 0.05 feet, which is 1/20th. But it's really 1/24th, which is 0.04166666 repeating. But 35 feet 6 inches really is 35.5 feet. So add that to the 1/2 inch in decimal, then divide by 3, and it's plenty close to what I got on the day, which is 11.85. Now, 0.85 feet is how many inches? Well, fortunately this tape has decimals, so 0.85 is right there, and that's about 10 inches. So I'll do 11 feet 10 inches from the inside of the post to the center of the next post hole. 11 feet 10 inches is here, so I want the center of my hole to be at 11 feet 10 inches. That's about there, and centered this way under I have a string up top going between the posts. I'm pretty happy with this string arrangement because it lets me eyeball which way to twist this post. Okay, so this bubble is good. This bubble is good. It's right between the strings. I ran my strings up high for this one because it's up here that I need it to be straight to the other posts. I'm lining this edge up on the center of the post, so this is at 1 3/4. So there's a little shadow line on this side. I think that'll look nice. And when I drill the holes, when I drill my holes in this top piece, I'm thinking they're going to have to go at an angle, so they'll probably fall not in the center, but on this side of the top 2x4. So I'm just guessing. We'll find out. I've got some 3.5 inch deckmate screws I'm going to try to use to screw this to the post. I've come to the part of the project where I need to use my most valuable skill, rationalizing. Last night when I started putting the 2x4s between my posts, the first one I clamped it to the post and each end stuck out about that much. And then I did the middle one and one end stuck out that much. Uh-oh. So I got my second post hole in the wrong place. So the gap between that one and the last one is almost 12 feet. But I did it on purpose because this way I'll have more visual weight in the center of the structure and it'll open up at the ends. Now I have to decide what's my next step. So how flimsy is this? In slow-mo, I got these 6-foot 4x4s with the idea that I might need to do a corner brace. And the other thing I could do is double up these 2x4s in between the posts at the top and spike them together into a beam, and that would stiffen up that part flexing. Can you see the light changing? That's smoke. Smoke is making it all yellow at my house. It's also making it kind of hard to breathe. Prescribed fire is critical to maintaining the longleaf ecosystem. This smoke is from the next tract over. It's not from my hill. We burned up here last year. But next year when we burn around my yard again, will embers melt holes in my polyethylene? Guess I'll find out. Yesterday was too smoky to do much work, so I sort of worked on my plan and decided I needed some more lumber. So I went to Home Depot and bought 10-foot 2x4s. A lot of people can just draw things on paper and it comes out fine. My dad's really good at that, but I kind of prefer to work full scale because then I get new ideas for how it will look in place. So I'm going to try to maximize my, my cut lengths and make sure that all of my joints and fastening points come out compatible, as well as my mounting holes for the hoop joists. So I'm going to do that whole planning process out here on the ground. I've decided to base my plan on the corrugations on the shed. There's a joint where the panels come together every 3 feet and a high rib every foot. So on these, where these stitch screws fall, that's where I'm going to attach my 2x4 tie beam to the wall. So I can't have a hole there for a hoop. So the hoops are going to come in between. So I'll have a hoop on this rib, I'll have a hoop on this rib, I'll have a hoop on this rib, I'll have a screw on this rib. This structure with the post with the cap beam is a little offset from the shed side. It's farther back that way. And here's how that's going to work. So the pipe will come from the shed to the head of the post so that I can screw through the board into the top of the post and then have a hole next to it. Like this, only instead of a broom handle, there'll be a hole in the cap beam. Now I can measure the angles. I held the pipe up in the middle of the 2x4. I put a protractor on it, just lining it up by eye. 50 is 40 degrees from 90, so I need to drill the holes in the boards at 40 degrees. I ordered this $40 vise from Amazon specifically to drill these holes. I didn't know what angle I needed until now though, so these are my first test holes. I've been looking forward to this part. Note, if this process does not sound fun to you, don't even attempt this method. There are 4 degrees of freedom and you have to get them all right for every hole twice. I cut the bell end off the pipe at a 40-degree angle. Seems like it'll work. I gotta figure out where to start the holes so they line up. Okay, I'm lining this up way up at the top. Oh, that's a problem. I'm going to clean the spindle with acetone before I put it back in. That's my boyfriend. And I got to figure out where this lines up. That looks great. Okay. Alright, I have a problem. My handle is hitting my wood. Goes in that far. I don't like it. I think I prefer it going all the way through. When it goes all the way through, then there's that much pipe inside the board. And I think that's better than when it's stopped. It's only that much. This way, there's a lot more distance for pull out, so if the wind lifts it, it can lift it that much without it coming all the way out of the hole. Okay, I'm going to try one all the way through, right through a knot hole, and without the backer. So I don't have a 1x4 behind it. So violent! Terrifying! Oh, there goes the truck. I wonder how much a 1 3/8 inch Forstner bit costs. About $100. What if I just finish it with a hand drill? No. A 1 3/8 Forstner bit is actually under $20, but it's too short. I returned it unused. My store was out of 1 3/8 inch in the basic hole saw, so I had to buy all of this. I'm using a longer pilot bit because of my 40-degree angle. Okay, I'm getting ready to do the first cut. I've marked where the bit hits so that I can do the next one the same. Hopefully, if it works. I don't know. Okay, here we go. I hope it spins up alright and doesn't fly off. I wonder what speed I should be using. See what speed I'm on. Let's try 600. And I've hit my box. My handles come off. Okay, that misses it. My idea now is to chip this part out with a chisel. I wonder if I can do it without taking it out of the vise. Let me just whack it with a mallet and see what happens. Partway there. Can't get it out. I'm going to do a real one. This is the first one that goes on the side of the shed. When I started researching this project, I watched a lot of videos of farmers building high tunnels. I wondered why none of them drilled holes in wood to support the ends of their hoops. They mostly pounded rebar into the ground and jammed the ends of the pipe over it. Maybe they ran a self-tapping screw through the pipe to clamp it to the rebar. I wondered if they'd tried this way and it failed for some reason. Or is the drive a stake method just faster and cheaper? I think that's it. Drilling holes like this is pretty slow. I didn't mind it though. It was real fun when the hole saw was still sharp. This is the last hole of the 40-degree holes. I haven't really gotten any better at it. Each one is a challenge. I made this little stick to make sure that I put this in the same place every time, just to eliminate one variable. The rest of it I've just been doing by eye. You'd think I wouldn't have to move the vise every time, but for some reason it just doesn't come out right. I've been real pleased with these clamps, these bicycle seat post clamps on the vise. Those work really good. A bit, I think, is getting dull. Next step is to lower it down and knock out this plug. This is probably my favorite part. I find this part very satisfying. I love this part. Throw it away. I'll mark the center of my hole so that I can do this just again and get it in the same spot again. At this point I can pretty much just push that out, but I've been sawing this part. This one is so tiny though, I don't think I have to. I don't know how I got it lower than the other ones. So I use this rasp to finish making the hole. If you can get the hole saw that's one piece, or the different arbor, the smaller arbor, so that you can go deeper with it, I think it will work even better. I've decided to paint the insides of my holes. If I waited until these were in place, it'd be hard to get this part. Yesterday I finished all the 40-degree holes in the tie beam that goes on the shed, and today I want to do the 20-degree holes that go on the cap beam on the post side. So my first step is to reset the angle vise from 40 degrees to 20 degrees and see how this goes. I had an idea that the 20-degree holes would be easier, but I'm sure I can figure out a way to screw it up. I can't see. I need my glasses. Well, it didn't take long to figure out how to screw this up. So there's a design flaw in this vise. If the tight place is right here, how the hell is that supposed to work? So now it can't go down and get out of the way, and this way it's in the way of the board. So I can either have the vise tight or I can get my workpiece in there. So what I'm looking for is an even distance from here to here as from here to here, right? If I'd have bought the 9-hole kit that doesn't have this part in it and just bought this part extra, I would have been better off than buying the $21 quick change arbor. That was a mistake. Anyway, see how I get this out of here. The other ones were easier to release, at least. Not sure what to do now. What do you do? Twist it off? Have to unscrew it? Alright, I moved things around a little bit, and I made a line this time where the bit makes a mark. I can measure off my mark and put the next hole at the same mark. Hey, cool. It let go. Okay, measuring my hole. This is on the fat side of 3/4, and this is 3/4 exactly. So I'm going to remove these two lines so I don't get confused before I make myself a new line for these holes. Oh, I get to see my boyfriend again. Hey! should I round up to this mark or that mark? But I need it a little less. I'll go here. Okay, here goes. Can't get these teeth clean. I'm not sure if this is sticking because it's so resinous or if it's just wet. Probably a little bit of both. Leaving it running, see if it'll extract my plug. I didn't pull it out this time, I guess because I didn't have as big a tear out. I might need to change my methodology on this. This is too hard. I think that helps, I guess. Now I can just take it off the bit. Alright, what I want to do is I want this hole on this side of the post. So I'm just going to clamp this to this cap beam. I have to build some more stuff before this is ready to put on, but I want to make sure that I'm putting the holes in the right place and the right direction and everything. You know, it's not impossible to imagine that I can make this go in that way. I've done dumber things before.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Go to the other side, let's see what happens.
It sound right, boys.
Well, that's pretty good. I'm trying to decide if I like it. I hope that's going into the wood. It feels awfully easy to drill. I can go look at it from inside and see.
It sound right, boys.
The way to make two boards into a beam is with a whole lot of nails. So I was just going to slam a bunch of nails in here from the back, as you do. And then I was thinking, well, is it really the back? Because I'll be able to see these nails through the window. Will I care? a dilemma. I am not sure. Do I want them on this side or the other side? How about I put some on both sides? No, then I'll run the risk of hitting a nail with a nail. Pressure treated lumber. LOL. I'm not 100% pleased with it. It seems to be a little bit wonky. See, that one bows in. I'm rethinking this. I put a bunch of screws in, but I can take them out. If I plane this down, then I can close up this gap. I don't think I can close up this gap if I don't plane this down. I finished the cap beam on my posts. And now I need to do some bracing to stop the posts from bending. So the wall is nice and stiff this direction, but it wants to wobble this way. For some reason, they stopped logging at the beginning of the pandemic, which as far as a socially distant activity, I've watched people do logging and they don't come within 6 feet of each other all day long. So anyway, there was a hiccup in the production of pressure treated. I got the posts before they ran out of the original stock, but then after they restocked, the 4x4 selection was garbage. So all I could get were these 6-foot 4x4s, and so I'm going to try to use these for my braces. There's a tree by the last post that's kind of in the way of digging another hole, so I'm going to put the bracing on the first post and the third post. I thought about doing it on the second post, but I want to leave some room around the guy wire in case the power company ever needs to mess with it. As long as I'm building something that's going to get in the way of my lawnmower, it might as well be useful. So I'm going to make a little workbench on it as well. Last night, after I finished building this flying buttress, I remembered something I need to do before I bolt this on with lag bolts. I got these straps to fasten the whole beam structure to the post. Right now, the only thing that's holding it down is these toe screws going through this way. And the only fastenings between this whole beam and these posts is some screws going into the end grain of the post. And that's not a great connection in any circumstance. So I got these big straps so I can wrap them around the top of the cap beam and nail it to the post. I have a palm nailer that I haven't used in a decade, so I have to see if it works. The last time I used it, I had to take it apart and replace one of the gaskets with a part that I made from a toilet flapper. I already got hot, had to do a wardrobe change. Meanwhile, I might as well suck it up. My old arthritis hands on this hammer and just fucking nail this thing. These nails are short. I love these Simpson Strong Tie 10D nails. They're so short and so stocky, even I can't bend them. My bad hammering angles. Where are my safety glasses? Where are my safety glasses? Alright, that's better. I feel naked without these things. This is the last one of these. Every time I lose a nail, I have to go pick it up because I think about Little House on the Prairie, where Laura Ingalls would have to go and find the nails after her dad flung them off the roof. Pa flung them off the roof. She'd take her shoes off and walk in the grass until she found the nail. I decided that the fact that this is not stiff at this joint is a big problem. So I rooted around in the shed and I found this and I hogged out a little groove in this 4x4 so that I can bolt this to this beam to try to stiffen it up. We'll see how that goes. I have a bucket of bell ends. I really like this respirator. This is my organic vapor mask, and when I wear this I can't smell acetone. I can use it with spray paint, can't smell spray paint. I know acetone's not that big a deal. I mean, look at
nail salons, but I really don't like it, so I wear a respirator. I have been looking forward to painting this pipe for months because I got this thing. I bought this from Zorro. It's possible it cost about as much as my pipe, but I thought it was really cool and I wanted to try it. Okay, I bought these mohair roller covers because they were the cheapest ones that fit this frame. Like this way. Nice. Okay. I'm going to use gripper primer. This is white gripper primer. I've had good luck with gripper painting plastic. I painted a styrene bender costume with gripper gray, but they only had white, so I'm going to use white gripper primer, and that might be it. That might be all the paint that I put on this PVC pipe. So that's, ooh, look, that's nice, y'all. That's so nice. Ooh. Maybe that's a little tight. Let's see if it, see if I can try one. Whoops, that's kind of too much. I think that's the minimum setting. It's gonna squeeze a lot of paint out. Okay. I've have to dirty a whole brush just to clean up the can, but I don't see any way around it. Assuming I'll just do one side and then flip it over, roll up the other side. There we go. I'm just going to start in the middle so that I'll be on camera. Interesting. It's going to take me a while to figure out how to do it, to get the paint worked into the roller cover evenly. I'm just going to go over this one spot a lot. This handle is in my way. First time I need to not use the extra handle. At night in my shed because tomorrow Brenda and I are going to try to build this thing. So I've got the purlins here. I've got six 6-foot sections of this aluminum channel. I need to put 2 of these conduit clamps on each of these sections before I rivet them together, because once I put the plates on, I won't be able to get the screws in the little channel. So you notice this nuts come in a 5-pack and screws come in a 3-pack. I have some 1-inch and some 3/4 inch. I wonder if I got the wrong ones here. I meant for them just to be 3/4. One is too long. Yeah, this is the wrong size. Changed my mind partway through picking these out, and I was so discombobulated because they were trying to close the store. I ended up with a bunch of the wrong size. So my plan to put this on is to put it up against the wall on the tie beam with these little short pipe pieces of pipe going through it. So if Brenda and I can lift it up there and put it on these short pieces of pipe, then we can pull the short pieces out and put the long ones in when we start to build it. Okay, I got one of these plates riveted to the channel as a test. I experimented with some different lengths of rivets and found the one that works best. Too long is bad. Too short is better. So I cut them with one little plate underneath. So I cut that off and have this much left over. I've worked out how to do this, and I'm going to put it away now and finish doing the second coat of paint on my pipes, because that needs to dry overnight. This stuff I can do tomorrow and use it right away. And I'd kind of like to show Brenna how to do rivets. So the last thing I'm going to do is go ahead and drill all of these plates at once on the drill press, and then I'll be ahead of the game tomorrow.
I suppose riveting these together constitutes innovation. Farmers use screws. They go straight into their galvanized steel hoops. None of this conduit clamp adjustable stuff. This is exactly what buck rivets are for, though. I don't call this the Beachton Buck Rivet Report for nothing. See this aluminum channel holding the belly pan under Ally Moe? I want to take that off and use it as the center purlin on my polyethylene-to. As much as I was looking forward to painting that pipe with my new toy, I've been dreading this part because I remember doing it on the other Spartan and it was nasty. The shit that fell out when I took the belly pan off was vile. So, ugh. But it needs doing, and I might as well do it in the middle of a fun project so I get more reward. Always be branding.
Yeah, I see why you're wearing protection. There's a bunch of shit that's about to come down on you.
The screws under the bathroom are rusty and I can't get them off with the impact driver. That's not surprising to me.
Year-old screws. I'm very impressed with the screws they made in 1949.
Might put a deer mouse.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
What are you doing, dude? You can't live here anymore.
Where is he?
Look what it built.
Oh, he's so cute.
I just pulled the last piece of this aluminum channel from underneath Alimo. I think that they just used any kind of scraps that they had to make these things. They're all different lengths and different widths. This one gets really narrow at the front. See how it changes width as the sides get higher? So it's like the same scrap material width, but they just bent it up more to make it fit the shape of the curve at the front of the trailer. So I'm going to use these different widths and see if I can shore this up, because when it gets bent it becomes very flexible. So I need to make it so it doesn't do this. So I have all of the channel that I took out of the Spartan here in the shed, so I can piece together one 36-foot long straight piece. And of course I washed it, because when I came back into the shed to start working on this, I found this 4-needled pine straw on the floor of the shed that blew in. That's good luck, like a 4-leaf clover. These are only supposed to have 3. After I riveted a lot of pieces together into one 36-foot length, I drilled holes at the hoop joist locations for zip ties. A tapered bit works best. This is how I plan to attach the aluminum channel to the PVC hoops.
Brenda and I just put that purlin up there, and I totally forgot to set up a camera. So now when we get ready to put the real hoops in, we'll come along, we'll loosen this up, pull this short pipe out, put the real one in, and move along the whole thing, and then I can move the purlin up the pipes after they're all in place. So I'm going to go put the camera down and then come back and adjust all of my conduit clamps to make sure they're in the right spot and lined up with the holes. And then when the weather gets nice, Brenda and I can put the hoops up. Just gonna let it go up on the roof of the shed while I undo the thingy. Okay.
in the color guard in high school. I've been training for this. Let's go. Unnecessary things. Oh God, what are you gonna do?
I'm going to take another cable tie. Go around like this.
Why? Why do you not like the thing sticking out? This one is just gonna have a tail too. Now you'll cut it though.
Because now this one is protected from being worn by the metal by the underneath one.
Oh, good.
So I'll get more wear out of it. It'll still hold together even if this one wears all the way through. It won't fall.
Oh, good.
I'll get a little extra time out of it, I think.
I thought I could reach it just by going on the top one. Maybe you should hold this ladder steady at the bottom.
Yeah, I should hold it at the bottom.
Yes, of course I climbed up there by myself after Brenna left to add the second cable tie and cut the end off. Uncut cable ties are an abomination.
It's been about a week since Brenna and I put up the hoops for the polyethylene-to. It was a windy day, so there was no way we were going to put the plastic on. When I was doing my research and watching lots of YouTube videos of farmers putting up greenhouses, the advice that they all gave was that you need 3 people and a very windless day to put on the plastic. They often left the hoops up by themselves while they waited for the perfect conditions. Brenna had to go home the day after we put up the hoops, so there's nobody to help me put the plastic on. But I kind of have an idea of how I can do it by myself. Because I have it up against the shed, I'm at a bit of an advantage. I don't have to lift it quite as high if I start on the roof. Yesterday I moved the purlin along the shed up the hoops. I just loosened the conduit clamps and just sort of shoved it up a little bit at a time, moving my ladder a lot until I got it so that I can get between the shed and the purlin to attach the leading edge of the plastic. Really wish it didn't have all writing on it. That's gross.
Alright, this is a puzzle. So I've unrolled the plastic and it's about half the width of the shed. So I have to spin this around and then unfold it and then fold it up again the other direction. I'm trying to put the part that says this side inside on the bottom because I don't really have an inside. I just have a whole lot of outside. So this is the edge where I need a sleeve for my PVC pipes. The other edge I will fasten to this purlin. And then I'll take the PVC pipes and push them over the hoops. In theory. There's a lot of white residue coming off of this plastic. It's very dry and powdery. Can't really tell which side it's coming from. I hope it doesn't make my tape not stick. Brenna said in flag core they just use electrical tape to attach their flags to the poles. So I'm going to use that to make my sleeve. Foreign Plastic Supply used regular clear packing tape. I might go get my tape dispenser. Might make this easier. I got my tape dispenser. This is one of my favorite things. You should get one. On my accordion fold, I realized I made a terrible mistake. I was supposed to put the PVC pipe inside the sleeve. Okay, now I gotta get these pipes in my sleeve. Maybe I can insert it from up here in one of the gaps. I'm going to try to do that without falling off the roof. This is the part where it'd be really great if I had two people. Okay, now all I have to do is push this off the roof. Okay, I need all of this above here. Something like a clamp. A lot of clamps. This is what I'm going to use to attach the polyethylene to the purlin. This is a stainless steel spring wire. I ordered it online. Lots of people make it and sell it. You can get it plastic coated, but I thought stainless steel sounded like a good idea.
you're supposed to have two people, so one person can pull it this way while you put it in. I'm just gonna have to do my best. Oh, look, I've already put a hole in it. Jet. So I got these little clips that go in the other half of the purlin. And my plan is to sort of lace it to the side of the shed. But just for now, in case there's some sort of a freak wind or something, I'm just going to tie the end to the shed, just as a precaution. Neat. This is what I use to push the plastic. This is a mop handle that I got at the grocery store. My concerns now are that I don't have this plastic on straight, but as long as I can get it clamped to the front edge and get it tight, I think it'll be okay. I'm going to put these on to hold the plastic to the pipe along the hoops. But first I need to get it all adjusted. I want to raise the back purlin more and get it all sort of situated before I put these on. But I don't like that hanging down on the front, so I'm going to just clamp that with some of my spring clamps and adjust on this for a little bit. Lean-to has a side mullet. Man, how many times have I been up and down a ladder today? I had to take a break and eat a motherfucking cookie. But I can't stop until I get this thing secured. I can't do it. I can't get these clamps on. It's just too hard. My hands aren't strong enough. My friend Steve's coming, so hopefully he'll be strong enough to squeeze these clamps on. So I'm just going to use these other ones in the meantime. Electrical tape works good. I think electrical tape is better than packing tape. Rena was right. She knew what she was talking about. I just moved this pipe underneath this bracket so that I can keep the weight on here. But I need a slit.
I started lacing down the shed side while I waited for Steve to come help me with the exceedingly inflexible ABS clamps. Here's how the lacing looks. The sun was setting by the time Steve arrived. Here we are putting the wiggle wire on the post side. I cut the excess plastic off with scissors. I did a bad job, very crooked. Steve asked for the scissors and fixed it after this. I should have asked him to do it in the first place since he's taller. I'm so used to doing everything by myself, I don't use help properly when I get it. I gotta work on that. I collapsed that night, looking forward to seeing the Polyethylene-to for the first time in the morning light. Okay. We had a light rain last night, and I want to see how the grass got wet back here. So there's just a little strip along the wall, and there's still a dry spot next to the Spartan, which means the Spartan stay dry, which is good, but I think this grass is gonna die. I was so tired last night, I forgot to put away my ladder. I almost never do that. But you can see how little rain we got. Not even enough to fill up this stupid ladder. The sheeting could be smoother. Having multiple people to pull it straight and tight from each corner before clamping it would definitely help. How does the 50% opaque white plastic affect the light? It seems to have a pleasant softness. So my 1/4-inch rope goes from those hooks down to this tie beam, and I've laced it on everywhere there's a screw. So every 3 feet I've tied it to the beam, and then I just lined the hooks up with where the hoops are. There's a race of ants that live up here on the shed. I think they just live their whole life up in the trees, and they think my shed is like a tree. This last section is kind of saggy because I need a clip right there, but Steve and I were having problems because the ladder was sketchy as hell and we ran out of these clips. I have to take a clip off from the other side and move it up to the tippy top, but then I think that'll take that sag out. So I'm going to try to put this one, that one up there. Now that these clamps have been stretched out on the pipe for a week, I'm strong enough to get them on with my old lady hands. I was able to pull a lot of slack out of the plastic. Oh no, I took the scissors out of my pocket so that if I fell, I'd fall on the scissors. But now I really wish I had them. Oh well, to come back up here again. This is the part I don't like. Once I'm up like this, I'm cool, but this transitional bit. Ugh. Keep thinking about Kylie. Don't have a panic attack, Kylie. It's not bad. I'm done. Polyethylene-to is finished. It's raining just slightly. It's about to start raining harder. So I came out here just to see what it's like inside when it's raining. I can still hear it on the plastic because of the vents not being airtight. And it's still really gross in here. Even though it's dry, it's still gross. So I need to get motivated to get in here and work. So here's the view from Alley Min of what's happening over Alley Mo. Nothing. It's fine. I haven't felt any 60-mile-an-hour gusts though. Really coming down now. It's pretty cozy in the lab when it's raining hard, but it's loud.
Thank you for watching the Beached and Buck Rivet Report. I had a great time building this polyethylene-to, and it seems to really work. I started this project in August of 2020, and it's now January of 2021. So I took my time, but the point of this project was to be able to take my time. Now that I have this trailer covered, I can take out the windows and work on it really gradually. I don't have a deadline on this project, but I don't have a budget either. I don't have the money saved up to buy the plexiglass for the front windows or to buy the stuff I need to polish the exterior or the money for the insulation or the new floor. I do have corian to make the workbenches once I get all that other stuff done though. So I got that going for me, which is nice. All the funding for this project is from my Etsy shop, and ultimately the goal is the conservation of the forest where I live. So I decided to invest $971.13 into the polyethylene-to so that I can take my time on all the rest and nothing gets damaged in the meantime. I thought it would reduce my stress level if I covered it. I did Alley Min without a cover, and doing the front door was a struggle. I replaced the door during hurricane season, and I covered up the hole with a sheet of corrugated plastic, and it worked, but it was not ideal. So this structure is 36 feet long and 14 feet wide, which comes to 504 square feet of coverage. And at $971, that's $1.80 a square foot, which is comparable to a lot of kits you could buy, which would go up a lot faster, but they wouldn't be as long or as tall, and frankly, they'd be shitty. For details, you can go to buckrivetreport.com and look at the spreadsheet. I have links to all of the vendors. Here in South Georgia, the season for working on stuff like this is winter. I'm hoping to get a lot of good footage that I can edit over the summer in the air conditioning. So tune in then to the Beached and Buck Rivet Report. Thank you for watching. Go buck yourself.